Welcome to another episode of the Butler Did It podcast. I'm your host, Adam Butler. Thank you so very much for being here. And I want to say really quickly before we get to today's topic, I want to say thank you so much for supporting this comeback or whatever you want to call it, man. I didn't anticipate so many people listening to the show. I didn't anticipate people walking up to me and saying, yo, I heard the last episode, man. That feels good. Trust me, I've talked about a lot on this show about being a creative and sometimes needing that positive feedback. And even if it's negative feedback, just needing to know that you're not talking to a silent void out there, man. You know, again, it's important for us creators to know that we have people out there listening. And I really appreciate everybody supporting what I'm doing here, supporting this show, and understanding that mental health matters, which is actually going to be the topic of today's show. Surprise, surprise, right? Understanding mental health matters, breaks matter, understanding that when you get busy or when there's a lot of pressure on you, sometimes you need to take a break. And me appreciating the fact that even if it's just 10 of y'all, even if it's just 2 of you out there listening to this show right now, listening to me talk on this microphone or watching me on YouTube or wherever you gain access to this show, me understanding that, you know, the audience doesn't have to stick with me. You guys don't have to support me. You don't owe me anything. So to take time out of your day and to watch me or to listen to me in your spare time, in your free time, yeah, I appreciate it, man. I really do. I respect it. I appreciate it. I do not take you guys for granted. Even when I'm doing what's best for me, I understand it, man. So thank you so much. We're going to get right into the topic today. I'm not going to waste a lot of time. We're going to be talking about Naomi Osaka, man. She is the talk of the town right now. She did a big thing. She did a very bold thing by deciding not to play in the French Open and to mind her mental health. Let's get right into it. Oh, man, I love summertime. I'm going to get to the topic, but I love summertime. I do. I love summertime, man. I was just looking out the window just now while I was transitioning. I was just thinking like, yo, it's a beautiful day outside. It's just like a beautiful time. Think about where we were last year around this time, man. And trust me, COVID ain't over, all right? Get those vaccines. That's my stance. It's my personal opinion. Okay, go ahead and get your vaccine. Take care of yourself. Either way, even if you're not doing that, do what you got to do. Take care of yourself, man. But I just think about where we were this time last year. We were right in the beginning of the pandemic, in a very weird spot in the pandemic where we thought we were going to be out of it fairly quickly. We weren't. We ended up staying in the house and being quarantined and dealing with that virus. And we are still dealing with it, but dealing with it in a heavy way for 15 months, man. It's a crazy thing to just think about where we are now. The fact that people are able to go out and do things, go to basketball games, go to tennis tournaments, watch people, watch athletes, you know, go to movies, do things that we really took for granted, man. It's really wild to think about that. But anyway, I digress and I want to get into the topic. I'm talking about Naomi Osaka, man. Naomi Osaka is one of the greatest athletes living right now. I remember, was it the French Open or the U.S.? I'm not a big tennis guy, so please forgive me. I mix up the tournaments, but I remember she played Serena, and it was a big thing. You know, this young girl, this young half Japanese, half black girl. You know, she represented so much, and she was almost like the new Serena. And I don't mean to disrespect Serena Williams. Serena Williams is the GOAT, literally. You know, but I remember when she played her and Naomi beat her, man. I remember where I was, yo. It was a really crazy thing. I was over my boy Derek's house. You know, it was my niece's. It was the baby shower for my niece Lincoln. We were over there. We were all watching a tennis match, man. And you know, I'm not gonna lie, I was rooting for the young girl, not because I was hating on Serena. It had nothing to do with that actually, but I just was rooting for her because I don't know, it was just something about her. I just wanted to see her succeed. I felt like Serena, you know, had her time and she still has her time, but like it was really cool to see this young girl win. And it was dope. She did her thing. She's super talented, so she was able to take out Serena. And for what I understand with the sport, she beat her. It was really no sweat. She took care of business, right? And I remember being impressed with that. But something happened that day that kind of foreshadowed where we are now. She beat Serena Williams, and Serena was dealing with an umpire that she had a history with. And Serena went off on the umpire quite a few times. quite a few times, accused the umpire of a couple of things, right? Cheating, having a bias against her and her sister, all sorts of stuff. And, to be honest with you, Serena Williams let it be known during the match that she was pissed off about what was going on. She was pissed off, and she she was going to protest that day. She had had enough. So the story became less about Naomi and more about Serena Williams and this umpire and everything she had dealt with this guy, everything her sister had dealt with this guy, the biases in tennis, the biases against women athletes. She even said something like, if I was a male, you wouldn't be calling it like this. She after the match, she did a press conference. She talked about, she took that opportunity to talk about the struggles of being a woman athlete, being a black woman athlete, being a mother, all sorts of stuff. Serena Williams really had a moment to shine. But here's little Naomi, this newcomer who just beat this woman, right? And let me be real clear. I'm not putting any blame on Serena Williams at all. I think they're actually two separate issues that combine into one, right? That Naomi's big moment in the spotlight for a lot of people, unless you're a big tennis fan. For people like me, this is my first time seeing this young woman live. I'd heard of her, obviously, but first time seeing her live and being impressed with her, really watching a tennis match all the way through, because it's two superstars, a star in the making, and the biggest superstar you can think of in sports, Serena Williams, and she beat her. And for me, it's a new experience. And she took that moment in that big spotlight to shine the light on something that she felt, well, actually, we all feel is way more important, which is how women are treated in sports, how referees and umpires can have a bit of a bias against women, how aggressive black women are viewed just in life. It was a really important moment, Not blaming Serena Williams for taking advantage of that moment. But there were some consequences to that moment, because they went and they spoke with Naomi. And she was shook up. I remember her saying, and I can't quote her, but I remember her saying something along the lines of, I actually feel bad for coming out as a winner. And I remember thinking that day, I remember thinking that day, damn, that's a lot of pressure on that girl. Here you are playing your idol, playing one of the greatest athletes of the century, if not all time, Serena Williams. If not, probably, and again, I'm not a tennis aficionado. I'm sorry. Well, my tennis folks, let me know in the comments below or in the comment section on the podcast, on your podcast app. But I feel like Serena Williams is probably considered the greatest women's tennis player ever, and if not one of the greatest tennis players ever. She's certainly one of the greatest athletes I've ever seen. So here you are. You have to, if you're Naomi, you have to admire this woman, modeled your game after this woman, right? It's like I was talking about last week where Kwame Brown is drafted and is a teammate with Michael Jordan, or anyone that's playing with LeBron James right now, or whatever, name that athlete. You're playing against her and you beat her. It should be the best day of your life. And that day gets turned into something way bigger, at least partially. And you're sitting in a press conference and they're asking you questions about Serena Williams. And again, I want to be real clear for my listeners and my viewers. I am not blaming Serena Williams at all. Two things can be true. There was an issue that happened with Serena Williams, but it also had an impact on Naomi. And she said as much in her press conference, that wow, it was a lot of pressure, and I almost feel bad for being on the other side of this. And I thought that day, wow, it was a lot of pressure on that girl, on this young woman. She should be happy today. This should be catapulting her to it should almost be like a baton, passing the baton to the next greatest. Instead, it was a lot for her. So why am I talking about Naomi? She dropped out of the French Open. And she dropped out because she said she'd been battling depression since 2018. She won the tournament in 2018. Or was it 17? Either way, she said, I could be wrong. Y'all let me know if it was 2017 or 2018. Out of the way, she said she'd been battling depression. I think it was 2018, yeah, since 2018. And she's been having a hard time with being in the spotlight pretty much since she entered the spotlight on a real level. So unless you're behind on the rock, this whole thing with Naomi Osaka, she drops out of the French Open. The reason why she specifically dropped out of the French Open is because she did not want to do press. She wasn't in a position where she wanted to do press. She didn't want to talk to the media. And listen, there's rules against that. Again, I know a lot of people are mad at the French Open and the tournaments, but there are rules set up. Maybe they're archaic. Maybe we need to readdress them, and we'll get into that in a moment. But there are rules. So she's being fined, I think, $1,500 a day. Or $15,000, something like that. Okay, she was getting fined daily. People were critical of her. People were saying, "Yo, it's your job. You need to talk to the press. Why won't you want to talk to the press?" All of that is true. So she made the mature decision, the extremely mature and brave decision to say, "You know what? Right now, I can't fool with it. I'm a distraction, and I don't want to be a distraction to these other players. I'm not in a position to be playing right now. I've been battling depression since 2018. I need to sit down for a few because this is too much." Man, if that ain't the definition of minding your mental health, what can I say? Let's talk about that for a few, because it's a great opportunity to talk about how important our mental health is and how brave it is and how vital it is to say to yourself and to people around you, I need a break. I haven't done this show for months, half a year. The last conversation I had before I made my retirement video, right, was that, hey, man, 2021 is going to be a big year. I got a lot of stuff planned. Not what the Butler did. I didn't do a lot of it. I've been doing things in media for my job and, obviously the What Are Those show. But with this platform, I needed to take a break. And it ain't the first time I've taken a break. I've taken many breaks with this show because burnout is real. Burnout is a real thing. And that's just for us in our everyday lives. But let's talk about these athletes. Have you noticed the trend lately? Kyrie Irving, DeMar DeRozan, Kevin Love, Naomi Osaka, Marshawn Lynch. Here's what they all have in common. They've all been very vocal about their mental health, and some of them have been having battles with the press. And when you think about athletes, right, and you think about what we expect of them, what we need from them as fans, right? Let's go back to this time last year. We had no sports. That was a strange thing, especially for a guy like me. I relax watching sports. That's how I blank out. It helps me with my mental health to just chill out, think about nothing but that game that's on television, whether it be a football game, basketball game, whatever. Boxing match, MMA, whatever it may be that I'm watching in the moment. It's real cool to blank out and depend on these people to entertain me. And we didn't have that for quite some time until at least the end of the summer when we started to figure out the COVID thing out. Or they claimed they figured the COVID thing out and they just went ahead and just played those sports. These athletes put their bodies on the line. They put their health on the line. They put their well-being on the line. And it's real easy for us to look at them and go, yeah, well, so what? They make millions of dollars. If I made millions of dollars, I would too. And you don't know that. What kind of mental strain did it take for the NBA players to have to go live in a bubble away from their family for 3 months to entertain us? What kind of mental strain did it take for the NFL players to say, yo, I probably got to go play because at the end of the day, if I don't play, I might not get paid this year. Oh, and we're still traveling. And yeah, I have a high potential of catching this virus, but I'm doing it to get paid. Yes, but we need it because we need them to entertain us. When black people were getting killed on the street, on video, we were looking at them and going, what you going to do about this? An athlete, someone that plays a sport for a living, we were looking at them and saying, lead our community. That's how much we depend on these people. I was watching Dr. Umar on The Breakfast Club talking about Naomi, saying she represents her Japanese culture more than she represents her black culture. She needs to do more for the black community. And Charlemagne trying to say, well, she does a lot. Nah. She needs to represent. She needs to play for an African country when the Olympics come up. She needs to do a lot more. The pressure we put on these athletes is ridiculous. Doesn't it make sense that they starting to break down? Let's look at what's been going on in the NBA just over the past couple of weeks. You got a whole conversation about race relations happening in Boston because Kyrie Irving said his time in Boston was full of racial hate. He said it was one of the most racist experiences he's ever dealt with, and former Boston players are saying the same. Yes, some are defending Kevin Garnett and others, but others are saying, nah, man, playing at Boston was pretty tough. Let's talk about Russell Westbrook, who is coming off of the floor with an ankle injury and just playing an overall bad game and losing a playoff game, and someone in Philly decides to throw popcorn on him. Let's talk about Kyrie Irving when he's leaving the floor and someone decides to throw a full water bottle at him. Think about these bizarre lives that they live. And it makes sense that they would break down. Can't you understand that a little bit? Think about the year we just came off of. I just think about how I started off this segment saying, damn, this time last year, look at where we were. Think about the stress in your life, the things you deal with all the time. You ever asked your boss for a break? A real break? Do you feel comfortable telling your boss that you need some time? Or the people that depend on you, I can't do it today? Yeah, you don't make millions of dollars like Naomi. You're not the top, number one rank or number two ranked tennis player in the world. No, you don't. You're not in the NBA. You might be saying to yourself, but they could take a break. They can do these things because they make millions of dollars. And that's real. That's true. It's true. But don't you wish you could? Brad Stevens, the head coach of the Boston Celtics, just stepped down from coaching the Boston Celtics. He's going to move up to team president because the actual team president, the former team president, left, Danny Ainge. Why is he stepping down as head coach and not just taking both jobs? He said because he's burnt out, because he had to coach in the bubble, and then 2 months later he had to turn around and coach a team deep into a playoff run. He's burnt out. There's a movement happening, man. There's something really great happening in our society. America has always been built on grind hard, get it done. By any means necessary, go get that dollar. And the European mindset has always been, well, I need a vacation. I want to take a break. I want to take a holiday. Hired the European way. I get American grit and American toughness, especially as black folks. I understand hustle hard. I get it. We got to go make that bread. We got to take care of our families. Families got to eat. Kids got to eat. They can't eat no vacations. Right? I better be able to afford a vacation. I understand. But what's the point of you burning yourself out? How can you be productive? We black men, right? A lot of black men listen to this show. We die quicker than anybody. Hypertension, cancer, all that shit. Because we don't take care of ourselves. Because we won't do what Naomi did. Fuck it, I need a break. I need some time to myself. I commend that sister so much, man. I'm so proud of her. I don't even have words. And I'm a member of the press, okay? I am literally a journalist. And I know it sucks to not have people want to talk to me when I need them to talk to me. It sucks to not be able to get the story out that I need to get out because people don't want to deal with me. It sucks being the bad guy. It sucks being the guy that has to interview somebody and people feel nervous when they're around you. I know it. Trust me. I do this for a living. And not just this. I'm talking about my actual 9-to-5 job. I interview people. We interview people all the time. I know what it's like when people come in nervous because they don't know what I'm going to do or send me the questions or I need to understand what we're going to talk about before I talk to you. Trust me, I understand that feeling, and it sucks when people are not as transparent with you as you would like them to be, because your job, my job is to speak truth. My job is to get the story out there. I get it from a press standpoint, a media standpoint, that we need her, the number one tennis star in the world, the young, fresh face of tennis. We would love for you to talk to us at the French Open and share your story. She's saying I can't do it. I understand how that happened. I get it. But as a person who struggles with mental health, who struggles with anxiety, who grew up in a certain environment that still affect me to this day, I just have empathy for her and anyone that's dealing with it, and anyone that's bold enough to say, you know what, within reason, I need to take a break, a reasonable break for what I'm capable of taking, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You aren't going to be able to take 2-3 months off if you can't afford to do it. I get that. You have to do it within reason. But it's your duty and your job to figure out, what can I do? How can I get it done so I can take care of myself? Just like it's your duty to go to the doctor and get your body checked up. You need to be fresh in your mind. And so that's why I think this Naomi thing is important. That's why I think the Kwame Brown thing is important. I think that what you're seeing with the athletes is very, very important, because we can learn from them. I love that this is a conversation right now. I love that people are really trying to figure it out. I love that other athletes and other celebrities and just people on Twitter and social media are going, you know what, I deal with the same thing, because we can learn from this. We have never been this open and this compassionate when it comes to mental health in this country, ever. And that's another point I want to make really quickly. We also need to be patient with people that don't quite understand it or aren't quite ready to talk about it just yet. We are talking about our actual mental health, our feelings and shit. Like it's a really, personal thing to talk about. And we have not, as a country, not as just as a black culture, definitely not as a black culture, but as a country, we have not given people the space and the freedom and the sense of safety, right, to be vulnerable and talk about mental health, because we don't understand it. People talk mental health, oh man, look, you be all right. Go pray, which again, I'm all for prayer. Okay. But I think when you pray, the Lord will probably tell you, yeah, there's assets out there, but there's things you can go do to get help. I provided them for you. So I think we need to be patient with people that don't quite understand. But the important thing is, the thing that's super important is that we're having a dialogue about it. There's a real dialogue happening for the first time in a long time. Yeah, it's been happening slightly for a couple of years, but now that we have stars, celebrities, people that are seen, especially athletes, right? It's different when an athlete does it. Someone that we look at as a superhuman. Again, as I stated earlier, someone we look at to entertain us. At the end of the day, I don't care if it's a pandemic. I don't care if your knee is hurt. I don't care if your ankle's hurt. I don't care if you just had a kid. Athletes they're not even there for the birth of their child because they had a game to play. And I appreciate it. I love sports. I needed it last summer. My mental health was off because I didn't have a distraction last summer, which was sports, which was NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, boxing matches, whatever. I needed those things, and I'm so happy and grateful they're back. These people are considered to be titans, and even our titans are saying, Yo, I need help. You can't do the things Naomi Osaka can do. You can't do them. Sorry. You could, you'd be there. This girl has the mental fortitude to train her body to be one of the best athletes in the world. And even she's saying, I need a break. I'm not saying they better people than you. I'm just saying the status that we give these people, right? The platform we put them on. Gladiators. Well, we can learn from them now. We can learn from them because you probably need a break too. I know I've needed it. I took one from this show. I've taken it from work. I've taken it from all sorts of stuff. In my household, we talk about mental health. I want that to be your household as well because I want that to happen in our community so we can take care of ourselves and we can better ourselves. So shout outs to Naomi and shout outs to anybody else that's dealing with something, okay? They carry that mental health bag. It ain't nothing to be ashamed of. I believe everybody need a little bit of therapy every now and then. And I'm damn sure know that everybody need a break every now and then. So thank you, Naomi, for showing us the way, for helping us see the way. I pray that we continue to have this conversation, man. And I pray for you. I hope you do well. I hope you come back stronger and better. I know you'll come back stronger and better because you're taking the proper steps. Shout outs to you, sis. Be strong. All right. So that's another episode of the Butler Did It podcast. Thank you so much for rocking with me, man. I really appreciate all of the support, man. I'm going to do another show when I do another show. Like I said, next week, but I'm not going to try to follow some strict schedule, man. If this thing pops up in your feed, I appreciate you listening to it. As long as I got something to talk about, I will talk about it. Every now and then I'll have guests on. We're going to do it like we've been doing it for a couple of years now, man. Ain't nothing changing, ain't nothing changing, man. We just taking care of ourselves and taking care of our mentals because that's the point of this whole thing. That's why you guys tune into this show because that's what I'm on, man. And that's what I really, really care about. So I appreciate you guys. Follow me on that social media, MSR_Adam. That's me. Follow me on TikTok. I have a lot of fun on TikTok. A lot of sneaker talk on TikTok, all right? A lot of sneaker talk on there and on my IG, if I'm being real with you. You know what I'm saying? I love sneakers. That's my thing. So follow me on TikTok, the Butler Did It podcast. Also on Instagram. Follow that On My Feet app. On My Feet app, you can check out the What Are Those show every Friday on the On My Feet app. I got a new episode every single Friday on the On My Feet app. It's a really dope platform and I have a really cool show. And if you haven't seen the What Are Those documentary, it's on my YouTube page, the Butler Did It Podcast Hub. You can also watch this show on the Butler Did It Podcast Hub. That's on YouTube. Shouts to everybody that subscribe to the YouTube. Shouts to everybody that supports me on any platform, man. I love y'all so much, man. Take care of yourselves. Mind your mentals, all right? Stay fresh. And remember, be great. I'm up out of here.